All right. Good morning, everybody. I am so excited to be here with you on another Saturday morning as we gather people together and work towards building the energy more and more towards creating the 12 Visions world that so many of us have studied about and truly want to see happen on the planet. For those of you that I've been out of touch with or have not yet met, my name is Cheyenne Kramer. And gee, I'm excited that I'm being joined this morning by Doc Morris. He has been one of the original people who's been very involved in the whole 12 Visions movement as well. And so hopefully we can share some information back and forth this morning that will be helpful to other people who might be looking for ways to either get more involved, get more engaged, or perhaps even start to do something with your Friday night essence if you have discovered what in the world that is. So Doc, you were doing a great job here a few minutes ago, just kind of giving me an update of what's going on in your world. And for those who are unaware, and I do know some folks in Florida that I'm pretty sure have no idea what you're doing at this time, please do go ahead and share just a little bit about your virtual clubhouse activities that you've got going on.
Well, a little bit of history to start with, like I mentioned to you earlier. We are Florida Space Coast A-Team LLC. That's our business name. We are one of the first 8 clubhouses authorized by Mark Hamilton. In fact, to my knowledge, I am the only one of those 8 still operating. I am still contracted to Mark Hamilton to the clubhouse. So there's been debate and issues back and forth over the years. And like I tell him, I'm contracted to Mark. I'm not contracted to you. You can have whatever opinion you want. I'm going to do it my way. And back in the early days, I had a partner who came in, Mark said, launch the clubhouses. I got a knock on my door, said, hi, I'm Pablo. I work with you on building a clubhouse. How he got my name, some mysterious, but that was right at the time Mark said get things going, and we needed a team. That's why it's called an A-team. We needed a team, a minimum of 2, preferably 3, because it's hard to do it alone. Pablo and I sat here and we met a couple times a month, about every other week or so, and we'd sit here and discuss and plan and get to know each other and have our clubhouse meeting. It was me and Pablo, and then 2 weeks later, me and Pablo, and for about the first 6 months, me and Pablo, which gave us a lot of time to organize, structure, plan as we were going through the early processes. Mark was okay, organize and structure, make it legal within your state. So we created the business, made it legal within the state. And then the different steps as we move forward. Okay, now start your clubhouse. The product of your clubhouse is membership and selling the books and whatever other creative source of income you can develop. And that's what we did. And every time Mark came up with the next step is, Pablo and I sit here and look at each other and go, we knew that was the next step. What took him so long? But then we had other Neothink members around the state. We're in Florida. In fact, I'm right across the river from the launch pads. So other members all over but too far away to gather here for meetings. So we developed the affiliate clubhouse. We are the parent company. We are Florida Space Coast A-Team. You can be branch office, Daytona, branch office, wherever you happen to be. At one time, we had 9 affiliates and 3/4 of the state of Florida covered.
Wow.
For various reasons, they come and go. We lost a couple due to cancer. We lost some for family problems. We lost some that just got frustrated and irritated. Where's that $1 million Mark promised me?
Yeah.
Now we have not actually affiliated with Florida Space Coast, but there's about 6 clubhouses across Florida. It's a lot of fun down here. It's something that I believe, I live it, I teach it because I believe it, and I live it because I believe it.
I gotcha. And when do you guys do your meetings in case we have folks who would like to jump on with you? How do they do that?
Every Saturday, anybody and everybody is welcome. And it's Saturday evening, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The call-in number is 218-895-0498. And the passcode is 60848 #. Every Saturday at 6:30. And if you're a glutton for punishment, come in about 6 o'clock. We have a pre-call chat time.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Sounds awesome. And what kinds of things can they expect on your call?
Well, we, unlike most of the others, in fact, I wrote a book about it called Clubhouse Like a Church. We run in an actual church format. Most of the other clubhouses, they go pure business. It's a pure business structure. Well, Mark made the comment in, I think it was video 4 or 5 of his training, organize and structure your clubhouse like a church, but you're not a church. And I spent many years within the Baptist community, everything from a bench warmer to a pulpit pounder. And Pablo spent a lot of his time the Catholic end of it. So we knew automatically what Mark meant, like a church, but not a church. Most others, it just went over their head. And that's why I wrote my book, Neil Think Clubhouses, Like a Church, but Not a Church. And I sent Mark a courtesy copy of it, and his email back was, that's incredulous. He said, that is incredulous. He said, in your 5-year plan here, what are you working on? What has been accomplished? You know, can you divide it out? And I wrote back to him and said, everything listed there is in the process. It's on the table, it's being worked. And one of the goals that's listed there is to be the first Neil Think Clubhouse on Mars.
Wow. There's a vision for you.
We have 2 members who plan on that.
Okay. I bet Pablo's one of them.
One of them. He is an engineer.
Yep.
Can't say a whole lot about name and position, stuff like that, because it is, you know, so he's become kind of a silent partner because of the government position that he's in.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Is he still working for NASA?
I think he's with SpaceX right now.
SpaceX. Okay. Cool. Cool. Very good.
Our youngest member, who at the age of 6 decided she was a Neil thinker and part of the clubhouse. She's now 14. And her life goal is to be the first female astronaut in deep space.
Wow. Okay. All right. Has she read the Miss Annabelle book yet?
No, but she sit here and listen to the clubhouse meetings and stuff like that. And to get back to answering your question, that's the history of how we got here from there.
Mm-hmm.
We, like I said, we have our pre-call chat time in the like a church structure. In the literature, it teaches have an introduction meeting, have a business meeting, have a workshop meeting, have a clubhouse meeting, have a meeting to talk about the meetings you need to talk about. We went with like a church. Well, how does a church do it? You open your doors and say hi. That's an introduction meeting.
There you go.
Then somebody gets up in front of the church and gives the announcements and the updates and who's doing what and where's when and what's going on. That's part of the introduction.
There you go.
Then somebody gets up and presents some information from the literature. Usually the pastor or a deacon. I've been in both of those positions. That's the clubhouse meeting.
Okay. There you go. There you go. And I see Lindsay found her way to us. Yay! Can you hear us okay, Lindsay? Lindsay, have you got a microphone on?
She's going to sit there silently.
Well, I don't know if she's got a microphone on. I don't see it. So there's nothing that lets me mute or unmute her. So
what we were saying, after the clubhouse meeting, what does a church do? They break up and go to Sunday school.
no, there you go. Break out the book.
That's the workshop.
Gotcha.
The clubhouse meeting is just the surface, giving something to encourage the people, get them excited about Neothink, Neotech, give them some information to chew on. The workshop is the detailed nitty-gritty. We're working right now in Eric Savage's book.
Gotcha.
That's our workshop.
Mm-hmm.
Our clubhouse portion depends on what week. The first week of the month, it's community building. The second week of the month is business building.
Okay.
The third week of the month is health and longevity building. And the fourth week of the month is the 12 Visions Party and the apolitical end. And then on the months that have a fifth week, that fifth week is Stump the Mentors.
I love that. Bring your questions.
You bring your questions, you ask your questions. Best answer.
Good stuff.
Throughout the month, we cover everything, and we have, the focus discussion followed by the workshop, and it's all preceded by a pre-call chat time. And yeah, it takes about 2.5 to 3 hours every Saturday.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, I don't remember now if you gave it or not, but now that Lindsay's here, Lindsay is actually in Florida, up there in the Pensacola area. So she hopefully can hear us, even though we can't hear her. And do you have a phone number you're willing to share if she should decide she'd like to jump in on your call tonight at 6:30?
Like I said before, the number is 218-895-0498, and the passcode 60848 #. And if anybody ever wants to contact me for information or whatever, email to cmorris, MORRIS, 1948 @gmail.com.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. And I'm hoping that I can share my screen this morning because, I think it's great that you've still got a very traditional format going on to help people who have already been reading the literature, already know something about Neothink, about the 12 Visions Party, et cetera, et cetera. My husband and I have spent the last decade, definitely the last 5 years, going beyond and working to build bridges to more people outside of those who have read any of the literature. So we've been searching for ways to be able to communicate with more of the masses, find ways that we could show them what some of the Neothink concepts were about. Hmm? What was that?
No, there's
I'm sitting outside a Starbucks, so hopefully the Wi-Fi will be strong enough to carry all of this. We'll see as we go along here. But I did want to see what I could do in sharing some information, just so folks have a little more understanding of some of the things that we're doing. Let's see. Okay. So quite honestly, I love what you said, Doc, about that you're running a clubhouse that's like a church, but not a church. Can you see my We Care Partnerships logo?
let me get back to you. Things just went crazy on me here. There we go.
Can you
Yep.
see? Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, as you'll see, We Care Partnerships Network is one of our value creations, and we created it back in around 2008, 2009. And I actually had shared some of this information with Mark Hamilton back then, telling him that I thought that what we were starting to create was going to become a tool to help implement the 12 Visions Party. And so you can see we've adopted a tagline that kind of points back in that direction, where we're talking about, We Care Partnerships Network, pursuing health, wealth, and peace for all. So that is exactly where we are and what we're working on. Don and I are in the process of writing a book right now. And you kind of get the picture if you read our title. This is a call to action book, and it is based on what we have learned from the literature. It's based on what we've been doing out here. We've been working with people who have been in the prison system. We've been actually teaching entrepreneurial skills in homeless shelters. We've been working with young people who are at risk for going into gangs. And so based on all of those experiences, we're writing this book, and it's called #Do the Change. Skip the politics and create heaven on earth now. We all know that we were designed to be self-leaders, that we were designed as a small microcosm of whatever we believe God to be. We were designed to be creators. And that has been a huge part of what Don and I have been talking about. We actually have become reverends with an organization we found online that seems to have a lot of the same kind of philosophies that we do. And they actually specialize in working with people who want to have a healing ministry. And that's a lot of what Don and I are doing right now. We are very engaged in a healing ministry and helping other people to learn about other ways to take more control over their health. And so, we're coming right at people and saying, what happens when God, or as I like to say, the God of your understanding, is removed from all of our societal systems? Short answer: chaos, anger, violence, oppression, using people, and loving money. Those are a lot of the things that we're seeing out here right now. And so the book starts with Don's experience. The introduction is talking about his experience running for governor as an independent with the 12 Visions Party as his platform. He did that in 2012. And see, most of the people in the masses have no idea that he ever ran. They have no idea that there actually are options out there other than what the R's and the D's throw at us. And so we give people kind of an up close look at the corruption and the how bad the system has become, and why they never heard about this independent candidate named Donald Kramer. We also get into talking about what we've found by participating in the educational system and how it does not allow us, it doesn't encourage us to be those co-creators we were designed to be. We talk about man's law versus God's law. We know all about the idea that you know, flaw-filled man has created laws that are not serving us in any way, shape, or form. And we introduce the prime law in this book. We talk about the prime law, and we also talk about how the Creator made our bodies more able to be involved in healing itself than what they're telling us. We have to give it the right tools to be able to do that. And yes, traditional medicine is sometimes called for, but there are so many other ways that we can take more control of our health, our wealth, and our peace, and be able to become those value creators. So that's what we are doing with this book. We're actually pre-selling it right now because it's going to end up being a $19.95 a copy book. Right now it's $14.95. But just we're trying to let other people know that this book is going to be coming out this year, and it is designed to be a bridge to help more of the masses start to understand what we understand. And hopefully we've been able to use some language and some terminology that more people will be able to understand. Because that's one of the challenges that Don and I have faced in the past, is when we've tried to share using neothink terminology with some of the folks outside who have never read any of the literature, they just look at us cross-eyed and like, what do you mean by that? What does that mean? And yeah, we'd love it if they'd all pick up the literature and start reading, but I've had more than one person like almost run from the room when they saw one of the sizes of one of our books. They're like, I don't have time to do that. No, and they would just flat out run. So, you know, our book is going to be less than 100 pages long. And again, it's going to be a call to action, letting people know that we have the ability to create the change we want to see in the world, and encouraging more people to get engaged in doing that. We also have 2 different clubhouses that we've created, but again, they're not neothink clubhouses. They're clubhouses that are designed to take the average guy and gal out here who's already doing some of the things that we talk about, and giving them a platform to be seen and to be heard. Many people don't know that in 2016, Don and I rounded up a group of 12 women, and we went to Washington, D.C., and I gave them a platform to speak at the Jefferson Memorial. And this was just before Trump was elected. I like to think that we might have been some energy seeds for change standing there on the National Mall. You know, but we had an amazing group. I'm trying to find my photo gallery here, and I'm hoping you guys can see these pictures as they come up. But this was our crowd. We had, there we are at the Jefferson Memorial. Over here on the right, this was an Airbnb house that we found that we were all able to stay in just outside of DC the night before. And then, and some of you will see right at the top of the list is Jill Reed. Jill Reed drove all night from St. Louis to come and be with us, and she was one of our speakers. The interesting thing that you might notice about this crowd was most of them were African American women. And that is what we have found out here, is that the African American women they are more plugged into that self-leader that they were designed to be than most of the women or guys that we have met locally. And so we've worked with some of them afterwards. We've taught the at-risk kids. We were helping them to learn how to become business owners. You can see that they actually got to do their own flea market. They did their own car wash, and they got to take home the money they made. So we find that the more we can do hands-on things with both our young people and our adults, the better off that everybody is. So this gal over here is actually a therapeutic drummer. She was working with these kids, showing them how drumming could help with their ADD symptoms and help them to be able to become more focused. And so, you know, we work with her on a lot of different things out here. But the whole idea is we're building this clubhouse of women who are out here creating the change. They understand that they need to be a Miss Annabelle. In fact, we call Martina Dunford Miss Annabelle. She has worked with a lot of people in the streets. She has picked up, you know, middle schoolers, teenagers who had either dropped out of school, been expelled from school. She put them into her own school and got them into graduation. And she even included teaching them entrepreneurship. They started their own t-shirt business where they were making their own designs for t-shirts and everything else. She, even though she's never read the literature, she is doing the kinds of things that we ask people to consider doing. And, you know, everybody on this page is doing similar. Melanie Paul is a close friend of mine, and she and I together have been working on a vision that is kind of sort of in the vein of Paradise Cities, except our focus is that we actually have a partner now nearby here who wants to help us build a residential entrepreneur incubator. So we'll be able to take people off the streets, put a roof over their head, and right there in that building, they're going to learn construction trades, they're going to learn entrepreneurship skills, they're going to learn all kinds of stuff so that they can start to become value creators as well. And again, Melanie's never read any of these things, but she's been taking homeless people into her home for a decade and teaching them how to become accountants, and she's had them working in her business. So all of these ladies here are doing something to help create change, to help create a vision for change on the planet. And all of them are in some way, shape, or form in alignment with things that we read about in the Miss Annabelle story. So that's what I mean is we're kind of taking it to the streets, and we're trying to find more people who are already doing things, and then we can kind of through the back door start to explain some things to them. Now, of course, you know, we got this picture is Donald Stedman and Carlos McLaughlin. Some of you might have met these two guys along with my husband. This was a picture that we took in St. Louis with one of Jill Reed's events, and the guys are lagging. We don't have as many members who are guys yet, so of course we got my hubby. This gentleman, Joseph Crawford, is an amazing young man. He is so all by himself. He has created what we call the Patterson Press. He has his own magazine called The City Insight, and he is doing amazing things to create positive media. And we're really excited about the work he's doing. I saw Mr. Stedman here for a moment. He disappeared. But Donald Stedman has been very much wanting to get out here and working with young people who don't feel like they fit the traditional corporate structure. He's been doing his own business for quite some time, and he wants to be doing more of teaching other people. And some of you might remember my good buddy Rick Mabe. Well, he is very much working on his own version of Paradise Cities, and he's looking for land right now. One of the things that we've talked about, most people don't know that my husband and I, as of May 1st of this year, we have moved into an RV, and we are totally mobile. And Rick and I were talking recently about the idea that perhaps he needs to be looking to own like an RV park, a campground of some sort. That might be the simplest way to get Paradise Cities off the ground, because there's a lot of us that I've talked to who would love to be living in an RV, And, you know, what's stopping us from having a whole park full of RVs of people who understand what we understand and starting to invite other people into these RV parks where we can start to teach more of these concepts right there within the parks. So that's something that Rick's working on, along with classes that he has on what he calls the HOPE technique, which is all about honesty, omnipotence, pure love, and essence. So that's his way of taking his Neothink message out here into the world. And so most of our members have a link within these web pages where you can go and click. Like if we click here on Rick, you'll see that he has a very special web page that we helped him put up, that he's talking about the Hope Institute, and he's talking about his Hope formula. And so people can go here and they can just, over here on the right, if they put their name, their email, and their phone number in here, they'll get his free ebook about the Hope formula. And then he's able to stay in touch with people. So, Doc, I know you said you're using technology more and more to be able to get the message and the word out about Neothink and such. Well, this is how we're using technology. We're teaching people to use these little web pages that are called iWebatool. We're teaching them how to create their own little video that we can put up on the web page and be able to have people sharing their vision about how they want to be creating the 12 Visions world. And, you know, that way, as I'm out networking, as I'm meeting other small business owners, I'm meeting unemployed people who are learning about small business, if they seem like a good candidate for being part of Rick's Hope Institute, I can go here and plug their information in here, and now they become part of his email database. Because I know, Doc, that you're creating an email database of people. I think all of us who are leaders in the movement need to be doing something similar. We need to have our own webpage where we're working on building our own email list, because we know that social media is being censored in more ways. They are playing with the algorithms out there and making it more difficult for us to be able to do a lot of things. So the more that we have our own email list, the more we can stay in touch directly with people, and that's an awesome thing. I'm not sure who just jumped in with us, but it's a little noisy. Is that you, Rick?
It's Rick, and I'll mute myself. Hold on. I gotta figure out how to do it. I'm on the road, so
say hi first before you mute yourself. I've just been sharing some information with folks. Tell people what you're doing right now with your Hope class.
Oh, okay, real quick. Yeah, I'm driving. I just want to do it real quick. Yeah, we started our workshops for Hope Institute on Tuesday, and I'm kind of new to it. I'm using Zoom, of course, to do it. And I uploaded the workshop number 1, Introduction to Hope and the Hope Formula, based on the book I wrote, Hope, Your Essence Navigation System, onto the website. If anybody's interested in beginning those workshops, it's not too late. We're running them every week, every Tuesday at 7:30. Go to livinghopeinstitute.org and put in your information. We'll get in touch with you through email. We've got students coming in. And we're really excited. I'm really excited about it. The first one, of course, was our test drive, and so hopefully they'll get better as we go. But I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited to be able to share with you guys. And Sheehan is one of my driving forces that's keeping me going, and I really appreciate you and love you for that. And we need to keep this sea of you moving forward, and hope we'll get the Institute built soon.
Well, I'm holding that vision with you. You know I am, and I did just put your website up here, so anybody who has a visual that they're on today can see it. It's livinghopeinstitute.org. And, you know, this is kind of the next step that I think that Mark was hoping that more and more of us would take, is figure out what your essence is all about, and how can you take the Neothink message and interpret it in such a way that more people can understand. And so that's what Rick's doing with the Living Hope Institute. We're absolutely excited that he's doing that. That's what Don and I are doing with the Women Leading from the Heart and the Men on a Mission United, which is all part of what we call the We Care Partnerships Network. And so these are the ways we're doing these things. And we're encouraging people to, figure out, is there somebody in our We Care Partnerships Network that you want to connect with because they've got a similar passion, purpose, essence as you do? Or perhaps you should be a member and have yourself a website up on one of these pages so that we can help to promote you. That's the whole idea, is we have to come together and be able to promote each other's value creations. And if we don't have one yet, we don't feel we're ready to create one yet, that's okay. We just need to look and see if there's somebody else we can join in with, because until we start coming together, until we start collaborating, until we start supporting each other and figuring out how we can support each other, the sea of you is just going to keep floating out there, whereas many of us really want to see something start to happen. And I can tell you from our experiences with these two clubs that we've created that have members who have nothing to do with NeoThink, there are a lot of people out here who already have intuitively felt the presence of the sea of you, and they're already out here working to create it. Part of our challenge is exactly what Mark always prayed we would do, is to find a way to reach more of the people and be able to engage with them. And that's our mission, that's our purpose, that's what we're out here doing. And I haven't said this publicly yet, but I'm going to say it now, and I want you guys to hear this, that this event we did back in 2016, I don't believe was meant to be a one-time only event. We want to build the We Care Partnerships groups, the Women Leading from the Heart and the Men on a Mission United. And right now, my gut's telling me that we should be trying to create another one of these events on the National Mall next year. And I'm thinking April, May timeframe, when the weather is getting kind of nice. I think that there is an opportunity for us to grow the membership of this whole We Care Partnership Network, both the men and the women's clubs. And let's put more people out on the National Mall, giving their message, talking about what it is that we're out here doing to create the change that we want to see. So those are all things that we can be doing and should be doing. And I'm praying that we can pull more people together to come out and be part of this. This was a lovely group that we had in 2016, as you can see, but it should have been much bigger. It can be much bigger. And I'm going to start holding that vision of bringing together a lot of us like-minded people right there in DC for 2020. And who knows how we might shift the energy there further with a larger group. So that's mainly the stuff I wanted to share today. Comments, questions, anything here that sounds interesting to anybody? I'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, I'd like to say that what you went over there, all the different things you're involved in and stuff like that, the exciting thing for me is you sound like Reginald in South Africa.
Ooh, okay.
It was about 3 years ago, you contacted me for email, or through email, said, I'm a NeoThink member and I'd like to start a clubhouse. Yeah, can you be my mentor and help me get starting a clubhouse? Oh, by the way, I'm in South Africa. So I contacted Steve Rappella, and he said, well, if you feel capable of doing it, run with it. So I have. Well, Reggie, he works with a prison community, teaching the men that when you finish your time and you get out, you can be a productive member of society. You're not just the next con.
That's
You're
right.
a human being.
Yep.
He works with the children. He helps the children after school get their homework done. He has art classes, sewing classes. He has classes teaching parents how to be parents. All kinds of things he's working on in the community lifestyle like that, bringing people together. And I'm waiting for a response from Steve right now. Reggie asked me a couple weeks ago via email, can I interpret the literature into Afrikaans so my people can read it?
Ah, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
most of the people in South Africa, well, they speak English, but Afrikaans is their native language. That's a blend of Dutch and the tribal languages of South Africa.
Amazing.
Afrikaans, and very, very backward, prejudiced country. Reggie is what's called a brown. They have white, black, and brown.
Wow.
Right now, the blacks are pretty much running things, but the browns are the lower class, barely considered human.
Mm.
And he's part of that brown community. And he asked, and I'm waiting to hear from Steve Rapella, can I translate the literature into Afrikaans so that my people can read it? Because most of the brown do not speak English.
Wow. Well, I'm glad to hear that other people are taking action in this way. I've actually been very excited. Just recently, there's a local nonprofit that hired me to start teaching in the local jail. So now I'm getting the opportunity to go in and teach value creation concepts before people are released. And then I have the opportunity to work with them afterwards as well. So, you know, those kinds of things. I feel like Rico. We've got our hands in a lot of the different concepts and ideas that were in the Miss Annabelle story. Much like Rick is. Rick has got this hope class, which is really about helping people find their Friday night essence. I've got one I created called Find Your Song and Sing It, finding or creating work you love. I created that out of the idea of finding your Friday night essence. So there are more of us who are taking this material and figuring out how to put it out here. My job, the job I have taken on, and it's not a simple one, is to bring more of us together and to try to have this meeting place both on Saturday mornings and through the We Care Partnerships Network website, where I can start to introduce all of you to the world at large. And, you know, as I'm wanting more of us who understand these principles to be here on Saturday morning, and then I'm going to start to reach out into the community and some of my other members and invite them to come here and hear from you guys. Because we hear from them in the local marketplace 2 Wednesdays a month. I'm giving all of them the opportunity to speak to groups of people here in Raleigh. So again, we're putting the messages out further, trying to pull people together, get them to collaborate. We've got to stop standing in these individual silos, and we've got to come together. That's how we build the energy. That's how we can overcome the anti-civilization. And we know it's time. The craziness level out here is beyond belief.
That's why we went with the virtual clubhouse concept. You know, building community is fantastic. It's necessary. It's needed, like Reggie's doing in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever's needed in the community. But how do you bring those communities together?
Right. Right.
And in ours, we even have a business alliance within our clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
NeoThink members or clubhouse members. You don't have to be a NeoThinker to be a member of the clubhouse. But if you have a product, a service, a business that you'd like to offer to, you know, people around the world, like I said, we reach 14 countries. here's free advertising for your business, your product, from Florida Space Coast to Canisna, South Africa.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. And, you know, I think that's awesome. So definitely, you know, if you, please do go ahead one more time, because Rick's on here now. He wasn't earlier. Please go ahead and just, so it's in the recording, because this recording is going to go up on YouTube. It'll be on my YouTube channel under what's called 12 Visions World. It'll be there shortly. And just to make sure everybody has access to your phone number, if anybody wants to join into your virtual clubhouse at 6:30 Eastern tonight. One more time, Doc.
Number is 218-895-0498. And the passcode is 60848 #. And tonight in our focus discussion is health and longevity. And in our workshop, it's Global Wealth Power by Eric Savage. We're doing an in-depth study of his writings.
Wow. Okay. That sounds awesome. That sounds powerful to me. And, you know, I don't know, you know, again, I think it's awesome. I'm so glad that you're still doing kind of the traditional teaching. But please, if you think there's anybody in your group, and I intend to get on there when I can. My husband and I have so many activities going on lately. It's been a little bit hard to be able to reach out in all the directions we want, but I do intend to get on your calls here at least once in a while, Doc. But if you become aware of anybody who's interested in either supporting somebody or learning how to start their own projects in their community where they can actually start showing people what we're all about, please send them in my way. Send them here on Saturday morning so they can hear more about these things, because we want to showcase the people who are doing the change. We've talked about, we've read about, we've discussed these changes forever, but there's nothing stopping us from doing the change and starting to do it now. The more of us that come together, the more of us that work together, the more we're going to be able to start to plant those seeds of change and watch them sprout. And quite honestly, I don't think we have to have anybody in a political position to do it. Many people believe that Trump is the closest we're going to get to a TVP type president. I personally just say, hey, you know, the system is broken, in my humble opinion, based on my husband's experiences. There's no reason we can't start Mark's split run now and start creating the new systems outside of the broken systems. That's our purpose, that's our mission, and we're sticking to it.
That's something I've taught right from the start. When Mark launched the 12 Visions Party, there were so many of them out there. As soon as we get a TVP president, it's all going to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And I would come back and argue, nope. One man at the top ain't going to fix nothing.
Nope.
It's got to be done from the local community on up, from your local sheriff. That's the lowest elected official, is your local sheriff. From him to the president, every level, we need TVP conscious members.
That's it. That's it. And like I said, there's nothing stopping us from creating new systems now, even outside of the system. We do not have to be in the system to create these new ideas. And more of us need to be the value creators that we were taught to be.
And the more communities that develop it and show to the states around them that it works, guess what?
That's the idea.
It doesn't flow down, it bubbles up.
That's a fact. And I know Lindsay and I talked earlier this week, and she was saying how she was hoping my husband and I would come to Florida. Well, I'm putting you on notice, Doc. My husband insists that our RV needs to be parked in Florida in the winter time. So we may be wandering around Florida, spreading our ideas and such as well. So who knows where we will be when the winter starts to set in next time.
That's one of the reasons I moved to Florida. I grew up in upstate New York.
Bless your heart.
Right on the New York-Pennsylvania border. And I got tired of shoveling that white stuff every year, and I said, I've had enough.
I hear you. Totally get it. It's all good. Well, that's all that I have to share for today, and I appreciate everybody here. If anybody else has anything else they want to chip in and share or say with anybody, please do. And
I do.
okay, go for it.
Yeah, this is Rick. Just put me down for the National Mall project this year and for next year. I think that's going to be a phenomenal thing, and I want to be involved. So, and I got a message for Doc. I love you, brother. I heard your voice. I didn't need an introduction.